They found my little sister's slippers on the roof at sunrise, even though Mama had locked her inside our room and swallowed the key in her sleep. If this is your first time here, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, watch to the end and comment where you are listening from before you share your thoughts about the story. I was not born in Amalkwe. I was born in Enugu, where the city never really sleeps, where generators cough at night and Okada riders shout over music from barber shops, where my mother Ades worked 12-hour shifts at Parkland Hospital and still came home to fry plantain for me and Zara, where my father taught me to ride a bicycle behind our compound before a downfall bus took him away on a rainy Tuesday. I still remember the smell of his old shirt and the oil on his hands from fixing our fan. In the city, I learned to ask questions. Mama called me stubborn. Papa called me scientist. I took apart remote controls to see the green board inside. I asked the pastor why God made mosquitoes. I asked Mama why she cried in the bathroom with the tap running. She would say big boys do not worry about grown up tears. I worried anyway. Her tears stayed with me longer than her smiles. When I was 8, life shifted. Mama lost her job. The hospital was cutting staff. Our landlord increased rent. Mama sold our television, then our fridge, then Papa's toolbox. One evening, she sat us on our mattress, Zara on her lap, me on the floor, and said we were going home. Not to our flat in Ahara layout, but to her village. Amokwe in Udi. She said the air was clean. She said we would be safe. She said the village still remembered her maiden name and would protect her children. I did not want to go. Zara was 4 and clapped because she thought village meant Christmas chicken. I packed my science notebook, my broken remote, and a small yellow torch Papa gave me. Mama packed our clothes, her certificates, and a wooden box with a padlock she never opened in front of us. She checked that lock 3 times before the bus left, and she did not let anyone touch it. We entered Amalkwe on a market Wednesday. Red dust rose behind the bus. Women balanced tomatoes on their heads. Children chased goats. The houses had rusted zinc roofs. Mango trees threw shade. Old men played drafts under udala trees. Everyone greeted Mama like a daughter returned from war. They brought us yams and palm oil, and the women touched Zara's hair. But by 5:30, the village changed completely. I noticed it the first evening. Mama was sweeping when the church bell rang once. Not for prayer. It was a hard warning. Women called their children by full names. Men pulled goats inside. Shop owners dropped shutters. My cousin Ugochi, 9 and already acting like my big sister, grabbed my hand and said, Obina, come inside now. Inside my uncle's house, Mama bolted the wooden door. She pushed a bench against it. She locked the windows with iron pins. She checked the back door twice. Then she turned to me and Zara and said the words I would hear every night. Never step outside after dark. No matter what you hear, no matter who calls your name. Do you hear me? Her voice shook, and for the first time I saw fear living behind my mother's eyes. Zara nodded because she feared Mama's voice. I asked why. Mama's face hardened because I said so. In Enugu, Mama answered my questions. In Amalkwe, she buried them. Father Okoro, the priest, was worse. In the city, evening mass ran till 7. In Amalkwe, he stopped prayers at 6, blessed everyone quickly, and ran home with his cassock lifted. I asked him after catechism. He looked at me like I insulted him. Obedience is protection, my son, he said. Then he walked away. Ugochi told me not to ask again. She said elders get angry when children ask about night. She said her brother Chick once opened a window after dark and their father beat him until his back bled. But I am my father's son. I notice things and I write them. The first thing I noticed was the laughter. On our third night after Mama locked us in and swallowed the key, she kept it under her tongue, then spat it into a clay bowl. I heard it. Soft, high laughter drifting through the street like wind. Not adult laughter, children. Zara slept beside me. Mama snored lightly. The laughter passed our window and faded toward the square. The second night I heard footsteps, bare feet slapping dust, running, stopping, running. I pressed my ear to the window crack. I heard a girl giggle and say, "Catch me." It sounded like Ugochi. In the morning, I ran to our compound. "Were you outside last night?" I asked. Ugochi's mother was pounding fufu nearby. Ugochi's eyes went wide. She shook her head fast. "You must not say that, Obina. They will punish your mama." I showed her the dust outside our door, tiny barefoot prints, 5 toes clear. They led from our doorstep to the mango tree and vanished. She pulled me away. "I sweep it," she whispered, "before Elder Anana sees." Elder Anana was the oldest man in Amakwe. He walked with a stick carved with crying faces. He watched children like a hawk. His stick tapped the ground. When he saw prints, he poured palm wine on them and muttered prayers in Old Igbo. I swept the prints because Ugochi begged, but I drew them in my notebook. Life became a pattern of lock and wait. At sunrise, we were free. We fetched water, weeded cassava, played 10-10, attended school under zinc. The teacher made us recite the rules. At 4 p.m., mothers counted heads. At 5:30, the bell rang. By 6, every door was bolted, every lamp low, every child locked in with an adult who held the key. The whole village held its breath until morning, waiting for the sun to forgive us. I hated it. In Enugu, I could buy suya at 8 p.m. And here I was pent like a goat. Mama changed too. In the city, she laughed loud. In Amaokwe, she became thin and watchful. She prayed more. She kept her rosary under her pillow and whispered prayers. She flinched at night sounds. Once I woke to find her sitting up, staring at Zara, tears running silently. I asked what was wrong. She hugged me tight. "You must stay inside, Obina. Promise me on your father's grave." I promised because I loved her. But promises feed curiosity. Every night I listened harder because I had promised to stay quiet. Chike, Ugochi's brother, became my enemy. He was 12, strong and mean because fear made him mean. He told everyone I would bring trouble. He pushed me into mud at school. He said my father died because he asked too many questions. I fought him and lost. Elder Nana separated us. "The night does not like stubborn children," he said. I kept my notebook. I wrote dates and sounds. Night 1, laughter at 7:12. Night 4, 3 sets of prints near the well. Night 7, singing near the church, a hymn backwards. Night 9, Zara talking in sleep. She said, "Wait for me." Night 11, scratching on our door. Night 12, Zara's feet cold as river stones. That scared me more than laughter. Zara was different after we moved. In Enugu, she was loud and clingy. In Amokwe, she was quiet by day and restless at night. She tossed and turned after the door was locked. Sometimes she smiled in her sleep. Sometimes she scratched the mat like she was running. Mama noticed. She started tying a wrapper around Zara's ankle at night, looping the other end around her own wrist. She said it was to keep her close. And at night, I watched the knot and wondered who it was really protecting. The village had rules nobody wrote. Do not leave clothes on the line after 5. Do not answer a child calling you after dark. Do not look out if you hear your name. Do not ask why. I broke the third rule on the 14th night. The laughter came again, closer, circling our house. Then a voice called, clear as day, "Obina, come and play." It was not Zara. It was not Ugochi. It was my voice, a child's version of my own voice calling from outside. Mama slept with the key in her fist. Zara was tied to her wrist, but her eyes were open, glassy, staring at the ceiling. She was not awake. She was not asleep. She was listening to something I could not hear. My heart beat in my throat. I crawled to the window and lifted the shutter a finger width. The moon was bright. The street was empty. Then I saw them. Three children, barefoot, wearing white singlets like ours. Their feet did not kick dust. They floated. They laughed, holding hands, spinning under the mango tree. One turned and looked at my window. It was me. My face, my hair, my scar on the left eyebrow. But his eyes were wrong, all black, no white, like river stones. He smiled and waved. The air around him felt colder, and the mango leaves above did not move at all. I fell back and knocked over Mama's bowl. Water spilled. Mama woke shouting. She saw me at the window, and fear changed her face. She grabbed my arm. What did you see? She screamed. Nothing, I lied. She slapped me for the first time, hard. Then she pulled me to her chest and cried. They come for the stubborn ones first, she whispered. They remember you. Her hands trembled against my back, and I felt her heart beating like a drum. The next morning, the village was tense. Elder Nana poured libation at the square. Father Okoro prayed longer, but still ended before 6. Chiki told everyone I opened the window. Ugochi would not look at me. At break time, she sat alone under the guava tree, and I knew she was afraid for both of us. I went to the mango tree at noon. The dust was smooth, except for small prints. I counted 3 sets. One was my size. I placed my foot beside it. Perfect match. My stomach turned cold because I had not left the room in 2 weeks. The second was small, like Zara's. The third was Ugochi's. Mama found my notebook that afternoon while I fetched water. When I returned, she was burning it behind the kitchen. Pages curled black. She did not shout. Some truths are not for children, she said. Her voice cracked like dry wood. I shouted back, something I never did. You brought us here to hide us. What are you hiding? She stared at the fire. The light made her eyes wet. I am hiding you from yourself, she said. I am hiding us from what we become when the sun goes down. I was once like you, Obina. I asked questions in this compound. That froze my blood. You, I asked. She nodded. And your papa saved me by taking me to the city. But the city could not keep us forever. The death follows the blood. It sleeps in the daytime and wakes when the sun leaves, and it calls us by the names our mothers gave us. That night she locked the door and added a second padlock from Elder Nana. She tied Zara to her wrist and tied my ankle to the bedpost with rope. She kept both keys in her mouth. She did not sleep deep that night. She hovered between prayer and nightmare. I pretended to sleep. Zara did not. At exactly 7:13, her body jerked. Her eyes opened, black as the child under the tree, no white. She smiled, too wide, too old. She pulled at the wrapper. The rope around my ankle felt suddenly thin, like thread, and I understood we were not tying children down. We were trying to hold back something older. The knot held, but her fingers worked fast. Outside, footsteps answered. Many small feet, running. Laughter rising like a choir. It grew louder with each step, as if more children joined from every compound. Then the voice called my name again, from right outside our door. Obina, open. Zara's hand, small and cold, reached for my rope and began to untie it with fingers too fast for a 4-year-old. She hummed the hymn backwards. Mama snored. The keys glinting between her lips, her hand tight around Zara's wrapper. The padlock on our door clicked open by itself, slow and loud, and my sister leaned close to my ear and whispered in a voice that was not hers at all. They are waiting for us outside, and they are truly very hungry tonight. The padlock did not fall. It clicked, and then it hung open like a mouth. Zara's cold fingers finished the knot on my ankle. The rope fell away. Mama still snored, with both keys between her lips. Her hand locked around Zara's wrapper, even in sleep. I wanted to scream for her to wake, but my throat was dry. My heart beat so loud I thought the night children could hear it. Zara stood. Her small body moved without sound. Her eyes were still black, no white at all. She did not look at me. She looked at the door. Obina, open, the voice said again from outside. It was my voice, but younger, happier. Zara reached for the padlock with both hands and pulled. The door groaned. Cold night air rushed in and touched my face. It smelled like wet earth and mango leaves. I grabbed Zara's wrist. Her skin was ice. Zara, stop, I whispered. She turned her head slowly. For a second, I saw my sister inside those black eyes, scared and trapped. Then the smile returned, too wide for her mouth. They are calling, she said in that other voice. They are hungry. Mama jerked in her sleep but did not wake. The keys clinked against her teeth. I had a choice: stay inside like Mama begged, or follow my sister into the dark. I thought of Papa's yellow torch in my bag. I thought of the slippers on the roof. I thought of the prints that matched my foot. I stood up. My legs shook, but my father's voice in my head said, Stan. The compound was silver under the moon. No adults were outside. No dogs barked. The village was holding its breath. In the middle of the path, under the mango tree, they were waiting. There were more than three now, maybe 12. All children from Amaokwe. I saw Ugochi, or the thing wearing Ugochi's face, spinning barefoot, her white singlet glowing. I saw Chike, taller, his eyes black, laughing without sound. I saw a boy from school who had died of fever last year. He waved at me. His smile was sad, like he remembered being alive. And I saw me. My double stood at the front of the circle, my scar on his eyebrow, my tone short. He smiled when he saw me. You came, he said with my voice. We have been waiting. Zara let go of my hand and ran to them. She joined the circle and began to spin. Her feet did not touch dust. She floated an inch above ground, laughing that high, soft laugh I had heard through the window. What are you? I asked. My voice shook. We are you, my double said. We are what you become when the sun goes down. We remember everything you forget in the morning. Every child in Amokwe leaves their body at night. The locks do not keep monsters out, they keep us in. Behind me, the door slammed. Mama stood in the doorway, awake, eyes wide. She saw Zara spinning and screamed. It was not a mother's scream, it was raw terror. It made the lanterns flicker. Zara, come back, she shouted and ran barefoot into the dust. The circle stopped. 12 pairs of black eyes turned to Mama. Ah, the air went cold enough to hurt my teeth. Adize, my double said, using Mama's first name. You ran to the city. You thought the death would forget. Mama fell to her knees. Please, she begged, not my children. Take me. Chicks double stepped forward. The death follows the blood, he said, repeating Mama's own words from the fire. You knew the price when you left. The spirit does not forget a promise. I did not understand, but my chest burned. You knew, I said to Mama. You knew and you brought us back. Mama looked at me, tears cutting lines in the dust on her face. I had no choice, she cried. Elder Nana sent word to Enugu. He said if I did not return with you, the night children would come to the city and take you there. At least here we have locks. At least here I can see you breathe. The sound of sticks hitting ground came from the path. Elder Nana walked fast for an old man, Father Okoro beside him, both carrying lanterns. Behind them came mothers and fathers, all awake, all afraid. Elder Nana did not look surprised to see the circle. He raised his carved stick and began to chant in Old Igbo. Father Okoro poured palm wine in a ring around the children. The wine hissed when it touched the dust near their feet. Go back, Elder Nana commanded. The sun is not yet risen. My double laughed. You lock the doors, but you cannot lock the blood, old man. The children began to fade, like smoke in wind. Their laughter faded into the trees. Zara's body jerked where she floated, then dropped to the ground hard. Her eyes rolled back to white. She gasped and started to cry. I will tears my sister again. I held her tight and promised I would not let go. I ran and picked her up. She was warm again, shaking. Elder Nana pointed his stick at Mama. You let them out, Ades. You broke the rule. I let nothing out, Mama shouted, standing. The lock opened itself. The death is waking early this year. Father Okoro looked at me, not Mama. He saw the touch in my hand. You saw them, he said quietly. Once a child sees his night self, the bond grows stronger. They carried us back inside. They tied the door with 3 new ropes. They tied my hands with cloth, not rope, because I was still a child. Mama held Zara and rocked her until sunrise, singing the same lullaby she sang in Enugu. I did not sleep. I watched Mama's face in the lamplight. The woman who braided my hair in the city was gone. This woman was a girl from Amokwe who had run away. I saw the girl in her eyes, still afraid. At dawn, Elder Nana called a meeting under the Odum tree. The whole village came. I stood with my hands still tied, Zara asleep on Mama's lap. Obina broke the window, Chiki shouted. He called them. I did not, I said. The lock opened. Lies, Chick's father said. City children bring city pride. They think they know better than elders. They bring trouble to our soil. Elder Nana raised his hand for silence. He looked old and tired. 70 years ago, he began, Amokwe faced hunger. The river dried. Our children died. Our ancestors went to the spirit of the Udala tree and begged. The spirit agreed to keep our children alive, but asked for their nights. From sunset to sunrise, every child born on this soil must walk with the spirit. Their bodies stay, their shadows walk. We lock the doors to keep the shadows weak, close to home. If a shadow wanders far, it grows hungry. If it tastes freedom, it does not want to return. That is why we lock doors before sunset, the crowd murmured. Women held their children tighter. Your mother Adaze was born here, Elder Anana said, looking at me. At 14, her shadow grew strong. She would leave her body and not come back until noon. We feared she would be lost. A visitor from Enugu, your father, took her away. The city lights confused the spirit for many years, but blood remembers soil. When your father died, the spirit called her home. She had to bring you back, or the shadows would have found you in Enugu and taken you on a busy road where no one would have known your name. Mama stared at the ground. I felt betrayal like a knife. You did not bring us home for safety, I whispered. You brought us as payment. I brought you where I could watch you, she said, voice breaking, where I could lock the door myself, where I could pray over you myself. Father Okoro stepped forward. We end prayers early because prayer is light. Light feeds the shadows and makes them strong. We do not speak of it because fear keeps children inside. Fear is the only lock that works. Love makes us open doors. Ugochi pushed through the crowd and stood beside me. She untied my hands quickly while elders argued. Her fingers shook. Tonight they will come for you, she whispered, because you saw yourself. My brother Chike saw himself last year. The next night, his shadow did not return until morning. He woke up different, colder. He does not play anymore. I looked at Chik across the circle. He stared at me with eyes that seemed too old for 12. What do we do? I asked Ugochi. We find the box, she said. Your mama's wooden box. My grandma said the first agreement was written on bark and kept in a locked box. If we burn it, maybe the debt ends. My grandma said fire cleans old promises. After the meeting, Mama locked us inside again, but she was shaking. She placed a wooden box on the table and stared at it like it might bite. Mama, I said softly, open it. She shook her head. If I open it, they will know. They already know, I said. She looked at me a long time, then took a small key from inside her wrapper. Not the door key, a different one. She opened the padlock. Inside the box was not money or gold. It was a folded piece of dark bark, heavier than gold, old and cracked, with names burned into it in old Igbo. I saw Adais, I saw Nana, I saw Okoro. Near the bottom, fresh buns with two new names, Obina, Zara. My hands went cold. They wrote us in. Mama touched the names and cried. The night I ran to Enugu, she said, Elder Nana told me the spirit would write my children if I ever returned. I thought I could hide you forever. I was wrong. Zara woke and touched the back. As soon as her finger brushed it, the lamp flickered. Outside, though it was still afternoon, we heard soft laughter. They know we touched it, Ugochi whispered from the window. She had climbed in to help. Her braids were dusty from the windowsill. Was that evening the bell rang at 5 earlier than ever. Doors slammed all over Amaokwe. Mama tried to tie us, but I stopped her. No more ropes, I said. Tonight I go out. I will not watch from a crack again. You would die, Mama said. I'm already dying inside, I said. I need to know who I am at night. Father Okoro came to our door before sunset. He handed me a small bottle of palm oil and a white chalk. Mark a circle around your body if you leave, he said quietly, so the elders would not hear. The spirit cannot cross palm oil easily, and do not look your shadow in the eyes. Why help me? I asked. Because I was the priest who prayed for the pact 70 years ago, he said. I was a boy then. I'm tired. I want to see morning without fear. At 6, the doors locked. At 7, the laughter started, louder than before. Zara's eyes turned black instantly, even with Mama holding her. My own head felt light, like I was floating above myself. I could hear my own breathing from far away. I drew a circle on our floor with chalk, poured palm oil around it, placed Zara inside with Mama. Then I took Papa's yellow torch and stepped to the door. Obina, Mama begged. I love you, I said, but I need the truth, even if it burns. I unlocked the 3 ropes. I opened the door. The night was full of children, not 12, 50, maybe more. All Amokwe children from now and before, shadows with black eyes floating above the dust. In the center, my double waited, holding Zara's shadow hand. You came, he said. I lifted the torch. What do you want from us? To live, he said. We are tired of being locked in small bodies. We want to run until sunrise. The spirit promised us night forever if we bring 2 new names willingly. Zara's shadow smiled. My shadow reached out his hand to me. Behind me, I heard Mama scream. I turned. Elder Nana stood in our doorway, his stick raised to strike me down. Father Okoro stood beside him, head bowed. His hands shook around his rosary. But behind Elder Nanana, in the shadows of our room, stood another figure I did not expect. Mama stood up from the circle, her eyes now completely black, the wooden box open in her hands, and the names on the back glowed red like fire. She looked at me, and in Mama's voice, but not Mama's voice, she said, Obina, give me your hand. It is time to come home. I did not give her my hand. Mama stood in our doorway with eyes black as river stones, the wooden box open, the bark inside glowing red with our names. An elder Nana's stick was raised above my head. Father Okoro's rosary shook in his hands. Behind me, 59 children floated in the dust, waiting. Obina, give me your hand, Mama said again, but it was not her voice. It was older, tired, like wind through dry leaves. It is time to come home. My double stepped closer. Take it, he whispered with my own mouth. If you join willingly, the spirit will let Zara go. 2 names for one night. That is the trade. I looked at my sister's shadow holding my shadow's hand. I looked at Zara's small body sleeping inside the palm oil circle on our floor, safe with Mama's real hands holding her, even while Mama's shadow stood in front of me. I understood then what Elder Nana never told the village. The locks were never about protection, they were about control. Oh, you are not a monster, I said to Mama's shadow. You are Mama at 14, the girl who got stuck outside. The black eyes blinked. For a second, white flashed. Elder Nana brought his stick down. I did not move. Father Okoro caught the stick with both hands. Enough, the old priest said, loud for the first time in my life. 70 years of eating children is enough. The elder stared at him, shocked. You prayed for this pact with me, Okoro. I was 12. Father Okoro said, tears running. I was scared. I watched my sister's shadow walk into the river and never come back. I thought if we gave the nights, we could keep the days. I was wrong. The night children listened. My double lowered his hand. Mama's shadow looked at the glowing back. Adaize, it said softly, using her own name. You ran. Mama, the real Mama inside the circle, answered through tears, holding Zara. I ran because you were tired. I ran because they locked you in every night and called you a demon. I stepped between the stick and the shadows. I took Papa's yellow torch from my pocket and clicked it on. The small light pushed back the dark around my feet. You want 2 names willingly, I said to my double. Take mine, not Zara's, not Mama's, just mine. But let everyone else go home. My double smiled sad. 1 name is not enough. The spirit made a deal for all children. Then we changed the deal, I said. Ugochi ran into the compound then, breathing hard, holding something wrapped in cloth. Chike followed behind her, his face hard but his hands open. We found it, Ugochi said, under the Udala tree, the roots where they prayed. She unwrapped the cloth. Inside was another piece of bark, older than Mama's, black with age. On it were the first names, the children from 70 years ago. Chike looked at his own shadow floating near the mango tree. My sister's name is on here, he said quietly. She died last year because her shadow stayed out too long. I blamed you, city boy. I was wrong. I blamed the wrong person. Elder Nana dropped to his knees. You cannot burn that. If you burn it, the spirit will take all the children at once. Good, I said. Let it try to take us while we are awake. Let it try to take us while we are holding hands. I took Mama's wooden box from her shadow's hands. The black eyes did not stop me. The bark with our names burned hot, but it did not burn my skin. I placed it on the ground next to the old bark from the tree. And Father Okoro poured the rest of his palm oil over both pieces. Palm oil is for food, for light, for blessing, he said, not for cages. Mama's shadow knelt beside me. The black left her eyes for a moment and it was just Mama, 14 years old, scared. Will it hurt? She asked. Yes, I said, honest like Papa taught me, but we will hurt together. I touched Papa's torch to the oil. Fire caught fast. The old bark called. The new bark with Obina and Zara called. The names glowed brighter red, then white, then turned to ash. The night children screamed, not in pain, in relief. 50 shadows flew up like startled birds, spinning fast around the mango tree. The air filled with wind and laughter, real laughter this time, not hungry. My double looked at me as he rose. His eyes turned from black to brown, my own eyes. Thank you, he said with my voice. We were tired of the night. Zara's shadow let go of his hand and flew down into the circle where her body slept. She gasped awake and sat up, eyes clear. crying for Mama. Mama's 14-year-old shadow looked at her older self holding Zara. She smiled a small true smile, and then she too flew down into Mama's chest. Mama gasped and fell back, eyes fluttering open, brown and wet and human. The fire burned out. The bark was ash. The palm oil circle on our floor smoked and went dark. Elder Nana was on the ground, holding his chest. What have you done? He whispered. The spirit will be angry. Father Okoro helped him sit up. The spirit was a child too, he said. We asked the child to carry our hunger. No more. Dawn came slowly over Amokwe. For the first time since we moved from Enugu, one no bell rang at 5:30. No doors were bolted at 6. Mothers stood in doorways holding children, watching the sky turn pink, afraid and hopeful at the same time. Chike walked to me in the morning light. He did not push me. He held out his hand. My shadow told me you were brave, he said. I am sorry I called you city boy. Ugochi hugged Zara, who was already asking for biscuits like she used to in Enugu. Mama made us tea on the small stove. Her hands shook. She kept touching my face and Zara's hair like she could not believe we were still there. I thought if I brought you back, I could keep you safe the way they kept me, she said. I thought locking the door was love. My mama locked me in every night. I hated her for it until I became a mother. You are trying to protect us from yourself, I said, her remembering her words by the fire. She nodded, crying. And from the village. They told me the death follows the blood. They did not tell me the death was just fear. Father Okoro did something that morning that had not been done in 70 years. He rang the church bell at 7 when the sun was fully up, and he kept the doors open. He prayed the full morning prayer loud so everyone could hear. His voice cracked, but he did not stop. People came slowly, carrying children who were rubbing sleep from their eyes. No one had black eyes. No one floated. The night children were gone, back inside where they belonged. Elder Nana did not come to church. We found him later under the Udala tree, his scarf stick across his lap, asleep. He did not wake up. Father Okoro said his heart had been carrying the pact for too long, and that we buried him that evening not with fear, but with songs. Ugochi placed Udala fruits on his grave. That night, the village did something new. No one locked their doors before sunset. Mothers still called their children inside, but they left lamps burning in windows. Fathers sat outside and talked. Children played ten until the moon rose, and when they got tired, they walked home on their own feet. Zara and I sat on our step with Mama between us. The air was warm. Crickets sang. Far away, a generator coughed in another compound, sounding like Enugu. Will they come back? Zara asked, leaning on Mama's shoulder. Mama shook her head. The shadows are part of us now, not apart from us. When you dream tonight, you might fly. That is normal. That is just you. I thought of my double. His sad smile as he rose. Do you think Papa knew? I asked. Mama smiled, real this time. Your Papa knew everything about taking things apart to see how they work. He would have taken this village apart with questions until he told the truth. That is why I married him. We stayed up past 8, past 9. No laughter came down the street except ours. No footsteps ran except Chiki chasing Ugochi for stealing his slippers. No prints appeared in the dust except our own. Before bed, Mama unlocked her wooden box. It was empty now except for ash. She took the ash and walked to the mango tree. She scattered it at the roots. For the children who walked at night, she whispered, come home. Later, in our room with the windows open, Zara fell asleep holding my hand. Mama did not tie any rope to the bed. She did not swallow any key. She placed both keys on the table where we could see them. I listened to the night. It was quiet, and then it was not. It was full of normal sounds. A goat coughing, a mother humming, a boy in the next compound asking why the moon follows us. I smiled in the dark. That was a question worth asking. In the morning, I found my science notebook where Mama had burned the old one. It was new, with a rocket on the cover. Inside, on the first page, Mama had written in her nurse's neat handwriting, for Obina, who asks questions, for Zara, who dreams loud. I took Papa's yellow torch and placed it on the shelf. I would not need it to see in the dark anymore. Amalkwe did not lock its children inside after sunset again, not because the danger was gone, but because we finally understood what we were locking away. It was not a monster. Oh, it was us. And you cannot protect a village from its own children by putting them in cages. You protect it by teaching them how to come home. The last thing Elder Anana told Father Okoro before he died was this: tell the boy his father would be proud. I am proud too of Mama who stopped running, of Zara who learned to sleep with the window open, of Ugochi and Chike who helped burn the past, of Father Okoro who finally finished his prayer, and of the night children, wherever they are now inside us, who finally got to rest. If you are listening to this from Amakwe, from Enugu, from anywhere you were told to be afraid of the dark, open your window tonight. Listen, you might hear children laughing. That is not something to fear. That is just us coming home. Comment part 2 below.